real point, no personal attacks, and like sign locations, making sure they go in the right places in the right distance from the right of way. All of these sort of things are very important, and I think we should adhere to them.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hutchings.
This is interesting because I wasn't going to bring this up. I'm like the two gentlemen. I believe in fair play, in running a campaign decently, and with respect to my opponent. During my last campaign, I had a group of people that I thought wanted to help me out with my campaign, but they started to send out mailers that I thought were wrong. So I found someone within the organization and I said, stop this now. I do not operate like this. I do not mention my opponent's names when I go to the door unless someone asks me something specific. But my opponent in the last campaign had mailers being sent out from an anonymous group that no one can figure out where they came from. They sent out several mailers, 8.5 by 11, colored on both sides, stating that I voted no against education funding, House Bill 42, when in fact I voted yes on that bill. So it really surprised me that that kind of activity went out. And I think that had a big effect on my campaign. So I'm really glad you asked this question. So for me, I would follow these to the T because I respect my opponents and the time and effort it takes to go out and run a decent campaign. So I'm really sorry to say that during the last election, this did not happen for me, and I'm hoping and praying that this does not come out during the next election or during this election. And even in the newspaper, things came out that I thought that's really not a fair way to handle things. So thank you for asking this question.
Okay, very good. So I guess maybe we'll go ahead and Mr. Wright, if you want to go ahead and start the 2-minute closing, the summing up.
Sure.
Use it to add or to simply sum up. That'd be
Well,
great.
I haven't done any of those things to Lynn, so
I thank
just
you
to
for
let you
that,
know,
too.
I wasn't here 4 years ago.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I'm here. I'm Ryan. I'm going to stay around later in case anybody wants to ask me any questions, because I know there was a bunch of questions that were submitted that you didn't get to ask and I didn't get to answer. Like I said, I'm concerned about the budget. I'm concerned about the current situation, and I'm concerned that the Wyoming's at a crossroad. And we're really looking at a state that's been suffering from boom and bust economy for a long time, and trying to plan for the next 2 years is basically the only thought it seems to be, because of the fact that that's where the revenue is. And we don't have a steady stream of income or a steady stream of long-term revenue that we can plan for. We base it on the price of oil or coal or natural gas, and then when the bottom falls out of the market, we all kind of run and start praying for the next boom. And that was one of the main concerns I had. And I want to see a more stable source of revenue so we can actually start talking about the next 10, 20, 30 years planning for the long term. We have $20 billion in our sovereign funds. Last year we earned 6% returns. At that rate, we're going to double every 12 years. So you're talking about in 24 years, we're looking at roughly $80 billion in sovereign funds. That's within most of our lifetimes. If we start getting close to that amount of money, we're going to be able to provide a lot of stability. We could be, the Norway of the Rocky Mountains with some of the largest sovereign funds on the planet. And that's going to be one of the fallbacks. If we don't find a source, we still have to plan for growing the sovereign funds to help us to weather all these ups and downs in the market that we've all come to know and love and hate.
Right. Thank you very much. Mr. Emmerich, 2 minutes.
Thank you. I think Ryan hit on one point that I think is well taken, sovereign funds. And we've just now starting to transfer into a different way of handling the funds in the Treasurer's office, in the fact that it's going to be more in-house than it is managed funds, which will save us a considerable amount of money. And with the passage of Amendment A last year, 2 years ago, we now are able to deal in a wider variety of investments with the Mineral Trust Fund. And I think that it'll take a little time, but I think we can increase that rate from 6% to into the 7-8 range, which I would certainly hope so. But I want to talk a little bit about some of Wyoming's successes. We talk about problems. We've, I think it was 1968, they found a farm dog brought in a black-footed ferret in Meeteetse. They were captured, been raised, and we're now even reintroducing them not just in Meeteetse, but all over the American West. That's truly a win. Another win for Wyoming, I think, and particularly Laramie County, is Quebec One. We're refurbishing a MX silo north of town, and with a lot of the nuclear tourists, I think it will be a great tourist attraction. I just would like to schedule an eclipse every year, and we could get more tourists, but we're up in tourism this year, and I just want to mention a few of the good things that are happening in Wyoming.
Very good. And Ms. Hutchings, 2 minutes.
My 2-minute closing.
Get the final word.
Well, everybody, I'm Lynn Hutchings, and I believe that if we practice disciplined spending and resist estate income tax and plan better during our boom and bust cycles, we will fare well here in Wyoming. I believe we should never touch our rainy day fund unless it is raining. I'm Lynn Hutchings. I ask for your vote for Senate District 5. My website is hutchingsforsenate.com. I have a Facebook page, Hutchings for Senate, and I'd appreciate your vote again. Thank you.
And I want to thank the candidates, everyone who turned out tonight, everyone who will download, watch on YouTube, watch on the Charter Public Access Channel 192. Thank you to the City Council for making this wonderful facility available to us, and thank you for Charter for all the help they give on this. And yes.
I really, really, really want to thank you for this forum. It's a really nice way to get to know the candidates and for us to get to know each other. So, again, I want to thank you for your group for putting it on.
Thank you to the league.
And you know what we hope is that the side-by-side gives the comparison information that voters really need to take to the polls. So thanks, everyone. And can we give them, please, a hand for Thank you.
And I'll never forget.